So we want to get started here today. For those who don't know, Russell Brunson started a company back when he was in college. He was wrestling here at Boise State University, and saw people making money on the internet, and he started getting curious, and he had to create a small little software program, and from that small software, he has sold millions and millions of dollars of online training and software, especially with ClickFunnels now. Who here is a ClickFunnels user? Everybody? Awesome. So again, with that, Russell has he started the company. Most of our team, we've been here with partners with Russell for 8, 9, 10 years, and it's just been an amazing ride. And we thank you for being a part of that ride with us. Russell lives here in Boise, Idaho, with his wife Colette and their 5 children. He's got 5 kids. On top of everything else he's doing, he's got 5 kids, and just an amazing individual. So with that, again, we thank you for coming. We're so excited. We love these events. For us as a team, we work behind the scenes, and we email you, and we are on the phone with you, but it's so fun to put a face with a name. And so we appreciate you coming out and spending a couple days with us. So without further ado, please, everyone, let's just stand up, stretch our legs one more time, and put our hands together for Russell Brunson.
Thank you. Welcome everybody to Boise. You guys excited? Good, I'm excited too. I'm a little tired. I had a 5-year-old who had a fever all night in bed with me. He was super warm though, so it was kind of nice. And then we've got a 7-month-old who will not sleep. She's insane. And I was up till 1 last night working on this for you guys today because I'm so excited. I was telling the mastermind group yesterday, they're like, why didn't you plan this a couple weeks ago? And I'm like, because I wanted to give you guys the most up-to-date stuff possible. If I'd have planned it a week ago, everything would have been different, right? So, and that's just how I work. So, no, I'm excited to have you guys here. It always amazes me that people will come to Boise, Idaho. How many of you guys had to take 18 flights to get here? Sorry. We do that to keep all the riffraffs out. So, we appreciate you guys coming. And this is the smallest stage I've ever been on. I'm sure before the week's over, I'm going to fall off. Yeah, so I might need to borrow those. So if that happens, just laugh with me. It'll be awesome. So with that said, I'm excited for today's event. This event's a little different than other types of events we've been to. Who this is your first Ignite event you've ever been to? Most of you guys, cool. So these are fun for me because these are kind of my chance to who was that? Just kidding. They're kind of my chance to create. There's some things that I have to do over and over and over again, like the Funnel Hacks webinar. How many of you guys have seen that once or twice or 80 times? Oh, if I have to say that one more time, I'm going to kill myself. I have it word for word. I could close my eyes right now and I could do the entire thing perfect because I've done it so many times. And so this is fun because I've never taught the same thing twice at one of these events. It's what am I excited about? What am I passionate about? That's what I want to develop and figure out how to put it into, out of my head into a model that other people can use. And so, and then you guys are kind of my guinea pigs to take the stuff we're playing with and try it out as well. And so everything we'll be talking about today is all the stuff that we're really focusing on in our company right now and what we're doing to kind of take things to the next level. So it should be kind of fun. I'm excited for it. A couple things for those of you guys. One thing I do want to say is that this isn't how to get started building a funnel event, right? We've done a lot of those in the past. This one is you got a funnel done. Here's how we drive traffic and get people into it. And I know that. All right, these guys are excited for that. With that said, I know some of you guys. Everyone's at different levels. Some of you guys are wanting that. And so one cool thing that some of you guys probably don't even know about yet that I'm so excited for is starting on Monday of next week. How many of you guys know Christian? So there's Christian back there. So Christian and I, we wanted to put together a project just to help you guys even more. You guys all right with us trying to over-deliver? You guys cool with that? Okay. So what we're doing starting Monday is we're going to take all of you guys who want to go through. It's going to be a 10-week live program, and the goal of that 10 weeks is to create a break-even funnel, okay, a front-end funnel where you can drive traffic and at least break even or become profitable. And we'll talk about break-even funnels a lot today, but that's kind of the goal. And so what we have right here, and Christian will be, these guys will hand these out here in a minute. This is the calendar for the next 10 weeks of what is going to be happening. And there's something happening almost every single day over the next 10 weeks. And what's going to basically happen is every Monday, so Monday will be the first one, we're all going to jump on a conference call, and we're going to talk for 45 minutes or so about a direction. I'm going to give you guys a bunch of stuff, and then you go out and you work really hard. And that happens on Mondays. And then Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, Christian's going to be doing live trainings. You can come and get live Q&A, like everything. So during that week, you can implement everything that we covered during that week. And so there'll be no excuse like, oh, I couldn't figure out how to do it. Because every single day, Christians like in live things, you can come in and get questions, get things figured out, and get your stuff forward. And so if you follow along with us over the next 10 weeks, by the time it's done, you should have an amazing funnel that's driving traffic, it's converting. And then what we're going to do at the end of it, so this is in December, and I want all you guys to play, because if you guys all play, it's going to make it way more fun. I want everybody not just doing this in their own little spot, right? I want our Ignite Facebook group to blow up with all of you guys what you're doing and sharing. And at the end of it, we're going to pick one of you guys, and we're going to give away a $25,000 cash prize. Or if you want, instead of the cash prize, we will upgrade you into the Inner Circle program. So how many guys would like to have either $25,000 cash or be in the Inner Circle program? All right. So all you have to do is play along for 10 weeks and have a ton of fun and make a bunch of money along the way. Is that cool? Cool, so that's what this is right here. Like I said, the first call will be Monday. We'll probably send out a schedule, maybe Saturday or something, a week-by-week schedule, because there's a lot of stuff happening, and you're not going to have to participate in everything, but I'd say make sure you get on the Monday calls, because that's going to be kind of like the direction, like here's where we're going for the week, and start running, and then there's going to be a lot of stuff on your side, and then as you're getting stuck, there's things happening every single week you can come in and get taken care of. All right, so let's move on to this event. So the title of the next 2 days is called Funnel Catcher. Who has any idea what that even means? Is that just a weird name for most of you guys? A couple. Who said that? Foxcatcher. Okay, how many of you guys have ever seen the movie Foxcatcher? Like 3 people. How many have heard of the movie Foxcatcher? All right, so Foxcatcher is a movie that came out was it this year or last year? I don't even know. But it's a true story about my wrestling coach at BYU. His name is Mark Schultz. He was an Olympic champ. His brother was named Dave Schultz, who's also an Olympic champ. And Dave Schultz was actually murdered by John DuPont, one of the billionaire DuPont in the DuPont family. And anyway, so they made a movie about his life, and it's called Foxcatcher. Steve Carell plays John DuPont. He's super creepy. And if you watch like John DuPont in real life, like Steve Carell nailed him. I guess it's like eerily weird. Like a lot of my friends like trained at Foxcatcher and stuff like that, and they were just like, it was so weird how well he played John DuPont. Anyway, and then my coach was played. I always say the guy's name, Channing. That Magic Mike played my coach, which was kind of fun. So anyway, so the movie's called Foxcatcher, right? And so the other day, some of you guys know in my backyard, we moved to a new house, and in the back there's like this detached garage. And when I bought the house, in my head I knew exactly what it was going to be. I'm like, that's the wrestling room. Like my wife's like, well, we got to park the lawnmowers in there. I'm like, you honestly think I'm going to mow the lawn? Come on now. How many discussions have we had about opportunity costs? Like no lawnmowers going in there. That's a wrestling room, right? And so we started building, and we built like the most insane, amazing wrestling room on planet Earth. And so it's fun for me and the kids to come play on and wrestle and work out, and it's really, really fun. So one day, Nick, where's he at? Oh, Nick, he comes to the gym it was a Saturday morning. We came, and he's a jiu-jitsu black belt, and I'm a wrestler guy who's trying to learn jiu-jitsu, and he came over just to beat me up for a while, and he came in, he walked in, he's like, whoa, this is like Funnel Catcher. And I was laughing so hard, I'm like, that's like the funniest thing in the world. And so then later on after he choked me out like at least 5 or 6 times, it was really embarrassing. And I kept admitting this on stage. Yeah, like he choked me out a whole bunch of times, then we were just kind of talking. And I was thinking about that, like, about this concept, right? And we were talking about in jiu-jitsu and wrestling, and it's probably the same in most sports, but in wrestling, there's only like a couple core ways that I take somebody down, okay? When I'm out there wrestling somebody, I'm either going to do a single leg, a double leg, or a high C. Like that's kind of it, right? And there's other things, there's throws, there's other things you can do. But if you look at wrestling, especially the higher level, right? You get to college, you get to the Olympic level, the world level, almost every match is like one of these 3 takedowns. And I was thinking like, you know, when I was wrestling, I mean, we were doing 3-4 hour practices a day for 12 or 13 years, to learn 3 moves, right? But it's just 3 moves, doesn't really make much sense. But then, and Nick was talking about that with jiu-jitsu. He's like, there's only there's the core moves you do, but he said, but the cool thing is that to get in those moves, there's a whole bunch of setups, right? Like in wrestling for a single leg, there's probably 20 or 30 different ways that I have to get somebody to move to be able to get a single leg, right? There's 20 or 30 different ways that I move someone and get them set up, and I'm trying to do things to get in there. And so wrestling practice is all about learning out different ways to open somebody up so you can get the different takedowns, right? And I was thinking about that, and I was like, this is so similar to what we all do in our businesses, right? The hot topic for the last 2 years, I think, in internet marketing has been funnels, right? And there's everyone talking about all sorts of stuff. But if you look at it, if you boil down funnel psychology or whatever, there's only a couple real core funnels, right? The core funnels that we use probably 98% of the time are either a tripwire funnel, a webinar funnel, or a high-ticket funnel. That's it. There's other things you can do, just like in wrestling, there's throws I can do, and there's a bunch of other things. But the core breaks down to that. Those are the core things. That's the foundation. That's the basics of internet marketing, right? But to get people in to each of these funnels, there's probably 20 or 30 different ways to get people into each of these different funnels, right? And it's been interesting watching, especially over the last probably 18 months or so. And I saw it initially when I first got started. I got started 12 years ago. Anyone here been doing this for at least 12 years? A couple people. So when I got started 12 years ago, everyone got traffic from one spot. Anyone have an idea what that is? It was Google. That was it. You get online, you create a product, and then you go to Google and you buy ads. That was it. That was internet marketing as a whole. And people were making crazy amounts of money. I was like, this is so cool. This guy named Chris Carpenter came out with a book called Google Cash, and it was just everyone read that book and I can sell anything. I just go to Google, buy some ads, and you're rich. That was how hard internet marketing was 12 years ago. I'm like, sweet. So I was in there trying to figure it out. And then probably a year into my career, whatever you want to call it, the big Google slap came about. Anyone hear about that? People who were making $1 million a month, they got slapped, got kicked off Google, and just gone. Their business was gone overnight. Okay? It was just gone. And so then everyone's freaking out, and we're all stressing out, trying to be what do we do? Google's gone. They screwed us all over. What do we do now, right? And so we're trying all sorts of things, and there were a lot of things people were trying back then, but all of them seemed like they were based around some type of free search, organic search, SEO, right? And so we figured out something. Okay, this is working, and you start working, you start making a bunch of money, and then all of a sudden, boom, the next Google slap came about, right? They got Panda and Penguin and Hummingbird and I don't even know all these different slaps, right? And every slap is we're making a bunch of money, and it's we just took it all away. You figure out, make a bunch of money, boom, take it all away. And so I've been watching this for a long, long time, right? It keeps happening. And so in my business, I've had a couple times where we've built our business really, really big, and then we've been slapped either by a traffic slap or we had a merchant account slap a few years ago that was really bad. And I've always been very paranoid. One thing in a business stresses me out. One traffic source, one merchant account, one of anything freaks me out. I was at an event last week, and James Schramko was talking, and he said something about, he called it in business you need to have the Noah, it was called the Noah principle, I think he called it, or something, where basically when Noah's on the ark, right, you brought in 2 animals, everything is in your business you got to have redundancy everywhere, otherwise you're kind of in trouble. And so we've been focusing for the last few years all these different ways to get traffic. That's always been our focus. And then something positive and negative happened. This thing called Facebook came out, right? And Facebook was easy. It was like Google when it first came out. It was easy. It was awesome. And everyone started jumping and started making a bunch of money, right? And everyone's like, sweet. And they just did only Facebook. How many of you guys, 100% of your traffic right now comes from Facebook? How many want to admit that? I'm saying 90% of your traffic comes from Facebook. The majority comes from Facebook. Who's got no traffic coming to their site yet? Okay? It's because it was easy, because it was working, everyone was there, right? And I'm watching it as a group as a whole, right? Everyone, they get their thing up, and I'm talking about all these things that we do, Dream 100, and all these things, and everyone's okay, cool, well, I'm just going to do Facebook ads, right? I'm and then the problem is, they've been, because Facebook was so awesome, everyone's been rewarded by that behavior, so they're we'll just do Facebook ads, and so it's been awesome, right? And so it's been good. A lot of people laid a lot of money on just primarily Facebook, right? But the biggest problem that I'm kind of seeing, and I'm not sure about all your guys' businesses, but in January this year, Facebook started doing what Google started doing, right? The Facebook slap is happening, and it's I think since January this year, we've probably lost man, I would say at least 20 different accounts that Facebook has shut down. We've even had accounts where like we set it up, we get the Facebook rep to go and write the ads for us, set up the ads for us. They design like everything, like they did everything, and we let it run, and it runs for like a week, and then they shut it down. And we're like, dude, you're the one that did this. And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, how does the dude inside of Facebook do our whole thing and it still get shut down? Like, how is that even possible, right? And I think we're going through that again right now. Like the Facebook slap's happening and stuff is changing, okay? And it hasn't for everyone yet. Some people are still running, some people make a bunch of money. But the future, I've been down this path so many times over the next 12 years, I know what the future is, right? The way networks work is they want you to come in, they make it really easy so everybody comes, dumps their money in, and then they kick out all us direct response marketers. Like, they don't like us. We're not the people they want, okay? So they kick us out, and so it's happening. It's happening at Facebook level, and it's going to continue to happen. And so I think now is a very, very appropriate time to start talking about this. Is okay now that this thing that was super easy is kind of like not coming to an end, but it's changing. Now it's time to start shifting our focus back again to what are all the things we can do to get people in our funnel? Because I don't want you guys relying on Facebook. How many of you guys have got an account deleted by Facebook in the last 8 or 9 months? Okay, look around, you guys. That's a lot. Okay, if it hasn't happened yet, it probably will. And so if all your eggs are in the Facebook basket, it's kind of scary, okay? Now there's strategies within Facebook we're going to talk about as well that'll help protect you, but I want you guys to be aware of that. Like, just like in wrestling, like I don't want to have like one move. Like there's a guy that wrestled with me at BYU. At the beginning of the season, he was ranked number 1 in the nation, and he was awesome. He had one of the best high Cs I'd ever seen. His name was Rangi, and he was just awesome. Like, he got everybody on it. And I was a freshman there, brand new out of high school, and like the first 2 or 3 months, like he just beat me bad every single day. And but I started watching him at all his matches, and I started noticing that this is what he'd do. He'd come right here, and he'd keep his hand behind his back, and he'd just wait for you to reach. And as soon as you reach, he'd hit right here, and he'd shoot. And that was his only setup. He had one setup to the thing. But he was amazing at that one thing, right? And so I started watching, I'm like, that's really, really weird. You know, this guy's ranked number 1 in the country. I'm a brand new freshman coming in. He's beating me. I'm like, I wonder what would happen if I didn't reach. I wonder what happened if I led with my other leg, like how that would change things. And so I changed my leg, and I led with the other hand. He couldn't take me down anymore. The best kid in the country could not be a kid right out of high school. Just changed the whole dynamics. That took away his one takedown. He only had one. And I watched him in the year. The first year, he's beating everyone. And then in the middle of the year, guess what everybody started noticing? Same thing I did. Rangi only has one takedown. That's all he knows how to do. And by the end of the year, he didn't even place at the national tournament. Okay, and so that's where I think a lot of our businesses are right now, where we were really good at one thing. It's working, and that's good. But now is the time to start developing more talents, more skills, more setups to get people into your funnels. And so that's kind of what today's about. Is that, you guys excited? Yeah. Cool, awesome. I'm excited too. So that's what Funnel Catcher is all about. All right. Okay, now. So the question was, why does Google and Facebook, why do they do that? And the real reason is the people they want to give them money are brands like Ford and Toyota and McDonald's, people who write them a check for $1 billion and not care what happens. People like us are so annoying to them because what's our goal? We want to take the person off their platform, take them over here, and then we're doing we're doing all these things to them, which are good marketing tech. It's all good stuff, but it doesn't serve them. And so traditionally open the doors because direct response marketers are the ones that initially bring people in and bring the eyeballs and get stuff, and everyone's creating courses on how to do it, and you get this big, huge influx, and eyeballs start coming, people start coming, and they leverage that initially to launch networks. Like I've seen it over and over and over again. And after they've got that, then the big brands want to come because they're saying, wow, these people are making money here. Big brands start coming in, and then they're like, sweet, now we can get rid of all these annoying direct response guys who just take our customers and sell them stuff. And that's kind of the thing. And that's why Google, like a lot of my friends used to do ad agencies for like guys like us, and now they're like, oh, we used to do direct response guys. And the thing that's nuts, or branding guys, the thing that's nuts about that, so one of my friends, he got a big, huge account, right? And for most of us, right, like if we're hiring someone to drive traffic for us, like we're saying, okay, my cost per acquisition is this, you gotta keep it below this, and we have stats and numbers we want, right? So the stats and numbers for like a McDonald's or a Ford or a Chevy or like a big company like that, this is what they come to and said, the only metric they care about is impressions. Like at the end of the month, I need you to show me how many times our ads were displayed. That's it. That's the only metric they care about. And so my buddy's like making millions of dollars. All he does is he goes out there and just wastes their money to get impressions. Like that's it. Isn't that like it's the worst thing? They got a budget of like X amount of billions of dollars and they just want to waste it. And that's like networks dream people because like sweet, like no one's even clicking on these ads. This is fantastic. Everyone's staying on our network and that's what they want. We're taking people off and then, anyway, they don't want that. So yeah, good question. All right, so this is kind of the framework for the next 2 days is the funnel catcher, okay? And I'm gonna walk through this really close. And then there's a lot of stuff, some of this, I gotta go through some foundational things that's gonna kind of set this up. Those guys who have been to a lot of our events or read my book or stuff like that, some of them might be kind of review, but it's important because they're foundational things that we have to kind of cover to build upon where we're going. So that makes sense. So this is the funnel catcher process, right? We start down here with the funnel. Okay, and again, most of you guys have a funnel, or there's a funnel, that's being developed. If not, over the next 10 weeks, starting next week, we will get that process built for you guys, right? So funnel is number one. Then you go backwards. Next step is the bridge page or the pre-frame funnels, the funnels you're using to get people into that funnel. I'll talk more about that here in a minute. From there, we go out to the content networks, the platforms. Where we're going to be creating specific content for these things, and then the promotion that drives things kind of in. So that doesn't make a lot of sense right now, but it will by lunchtime today. We're going to go through piece by piece, but that's the model. This is what inside of a company what we're focusing on right now, and what kind of the focuses of this weekend. All right. So first thing I want to talk about, again, this is from the .com Secrets book, and so this is kind of again foundational stuff, but it's important to understand it. So this is the concept. That when I first kind of understood this, it changed things for me. Like I was always about, creating a product and selling it. And then we started learning about funnels. So it's like creating a product and upselling and selling it. And one day I sat down and I was thinking, I was thinking about like retail stores, right? Like you walk into a typical retail store and I love watching the process. Like what's happening to me as I go through this thing, right? Like I think about, how many of you guys have been inside of a GNC before? Okay, most people I hate walking into, and I love supplements more than probably anyone except for Anthony. Where's Anthony? And maybe Josh. There's a couple dudes, so I love supplements. I love going to GNC, but I always avoid it because as soon as I walk in, this is the lifeline they're taking their customer through. You walk through the door and the second you get in, someone pops up, hey, can I help you with anything? And you're like, yeah, no. And they're like, okay, and then you just shut off that thing and they walk away, and then you're like kind of nervous and you feel weird. It's just like this horrible experience every single time. Like I can't stand going to GNC, right? It's like it's bad. So I watch that whole process over and over. Like why, like how do I feel and why do I feel that way? And then I go to a store like the Buckle. How many of you guys go to the Buckle and shop there? The Buckle? You guys ever heard of the Buckle? I thought that was like a big thing. All right, it's not a Boise thing. Anyway, the Buckle's a store, right? You guys should go to the Buckle and see the process. So I buy all my clothes at the Buckle, everything, 100%. And the reason why is when you walk in the door initially, if you're a woman, they have great-looking athletic men who come and approach you. If you're a man, they got really cute women to come to you. Really? Okay? And so you walk in, and the girl comes up to you, and she's like, wow, these are like, she looks at you like, wow, like are you looking for a shirt or pants or something? Because I have some pants I think would look awesome on you. Like, come over here. And she grabs your arm and pulls you, and you're like, oh, thanks. And then she's like, these pants, these would look amazing on you. Like, these are awesome. So I put on my shirt, come over here, and she tries like, oh, this shirt would look good. Okay, and then she's getting all this stuff, and then she's like, okay, let me get you a dressing room. She puts you in there, and you're like, okay, so you're trying stuff on. She's like, hey, come on, let's see what it looks like. And you come out, and she's like, whoa, like, those look great on you. Like, oh, well, thank you, I appreciate that. And then she's like, this would look even better if you had a belt. And she comes and brings the belt, and I'm like, oh yeah, that does look good. She's like, okay, cool, I'll get you the belt too. And then she's like, some of the girls are really good. One girl was like, hey, we just got these new fragrances in, and she like sprayed like 4 or 5 cards, like, which one's your favorite smell? And like, oh, that one smells really good. She's like, oh yeah, that's my favorite too. I'm like, oh really? Well, and like this whole process, I'm going through this sales process, and at the end, I've got like 8 pairs of jeans, like 30 shirts, a couple belts, cologne, all this stuff. I'm like, man, like, and I feel amazing about just giving these guys money. Like, I was so excited, right? I'm looking at that process, how different it is, right? And so there's 2 buckles here, boys. You guys should go through the process. It's really cool. Anyway, so I started looking at like my customers, like what is the whole process they're going through? Not just like when they come to my website, but everything from like the very first time they click on something to like the very end of my world. Like what does that all look like? And I was trying to diagram it all out. And I went through a bunch of different iterations, and finally I kind of came up with this. This is kind of, in my mind, the process that we're taking somebody through with the customer, right? Like these are the phases they go through. And so I'm going to kind of walk through these because each one's got some important things that are key. And again, these are key to understand because as we go to the funnel catcher stuff, when you understand these, everything else will make more sense, okay? So the first thing I look at, and I'll talk a lot about this, the first phase in my funnel is understanding traffic temperature, okay? Warm traffic versus cold traffic versus hot traffic, okay? How many of you guys have ever had a sales page or something that you sent it to your own list and people bought like crazy? And you're like, this is awesome. And then you go and you buy some ads in Google or on a banner ad or something like that and nobody buys. And you're like, but it converted like 12% over here. Okay, that's like most people's biggest problem is that they're really good at converting to their warm market, right? And the reality is your warm market will buy almost anything you give them, right? They just will buy stuff. But you take that the same thing you created and you take that to a cold audience, most of the time they're not going to buy it, okay? Because it's different. I'll talk about that. Actually, I might jump ahead and then come back, okay? Because it's important to understand this. So you got cold traffic, warm traffic, and hot traffic, right? And the biggest thing is the way we speak to people down here and the way we speak to people here has to be different. Let me kind of walk you through. If you've read the .com Secrets book, I learned this concept initially from a guy named Gene Schwartz on page 119 of the book. If you want to read along, just joking. This is what he said, and this when I first got this, this just was a big, huge epiphany for me because I always had created funnels and things that worked really good to my warm market, worked good to my partners, but I tried to go and advertise, and they just didn't convert. I'm like, why are these guys not buying? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, these people are buying here, these people are buying here. You know, hot market's buying, warm market's buying, but nobody's buying my cold market. Like, what am I doing wrong? It didn't make any sense to me. And I read this, and it opened my, like, it was one of those aha moments for me. So he said, that's what Gene Schwartz said. He said, if your prospect is aware of your product and has realized it can satisfy his desire, your headline starts with the product. Okay? If he's not aware of your product but only the desire itself, your headline starts with the desire. If he is not yet aware of what he really seeks but is concerned with the general problem, your headline starts with the problem and crystallizes into a specific need. Okay? And so I started thinking about that. I was thinking about this, like, you got cold people, you got warm people, and you got hot people, right? Your hot people are most aware. They know who you are, they love you, they're followers, they're true fans. You could basically put up almost anything and they're gonna buy, right? How many of you guys, if I was like, hey, there's some cool supplements out there that are awesome, you guys should go buy them. How many of you guys would just run out and buy it without even like, that was it, like all I started to tell you. Okay, I say like 20% of the room would just go buy it. Like, that's your hot prospects, right? They trust you so much, like, I don't even care. Like, Russell says, cool, I'm in, boom. Like, I did a podcast about my #1 entrepreneurial supplement, and I just said, if you're interested, message me. It's like $300, it's super expensive. I didn't tell anybody what it did or what it was about. I said I loved it. How many of you guys listened to that podcast? How many of you guys bought afterwards? Okay, I sold 80 $300 packages just by saying there's this really cool supplement I like. I didn't say what it was. I didn't say anything. I said I liked it. 80 packages at $300 a pop. Like, that's your warm market, right? And so the problem is, like, we're selling to our warm market. We're like, sweet, everyone loves my stuff. And then you go over to your cold market and nobody buys. You're like, why doesn't anyone buy? Because they're not aware, right? Our goal, our entire goal, and you'll see this through the process, our goal is to move people here. Because here we can sell people really, really easily. But the majority of people aren't here, right? The masses are way over here. Okay, so here's the most aware right here. Next, you move backwards. The next is product aware. Okay, they know they need an autoresponder, but they're trying to figure out, should I use Aweber or GetResponse or Mail? Like, they're kind of aware. They're just trying to pick like what product makes the most sense, right? They're product aware. Then you go down. They're more solution aware. I know that I need to send emails to my customers. Like, I know that's something that needs to happen, but that's all I know. Like, I don't know anything else. So I'm going to speak to that person a little bit differently. And then you step back here, they're problem aware. No one's buying my crap. Like, I don't even know what to do. I got a problem, but I don't even know what the solution is, right? So there's that. And down here, they're unaware. They're just like, la-di-da. They have no idea, right? And so this is the key to understand, right? And we're going to talk a lot about this morning because if you grasp this, it'll give you guys the ability to take your funnels and your offers and scale them dramatically, right? Because the people that you're typically speaking, like if you're on Facebook right now, the pros and the cons of Facebook is I can target people who are product aware, most aware, right? That's why it's like awesome, right? Like, I go in there, I'm like, I want to promote to all the coaches, consultants, the authors, everyone's following Tony Robbins, everyone's following Russell, everyone's following Frank, like that's what most of us do, right? We find people that are already right here, we put up our ads, and we're making a ton of money off this hot market. Okay, the problem is that hot market's only this big. Like it's finite. It's growing, but it grows really, really slow, right? And so your offers, you can make a lot of money because those people are rabid buyers, but you're also limited by what you can do. If you want to scale, if you want to open up a whole world of traffic and customers and people, you have to learn how to change your offers from hot down to cold. Because at the unaware level or the problem aware, there's hundreds of millions or billions of people that could use your product. Okay, so it's understanding that, and then we're gonna go through a process, but when you understand that, you speak to these people differently. Okay, so we'll come back to that, but that's kind of the first thing to understand is that there's different types of traffic. Okay, all right, so that's phase number one here, is understanding there's hot traffic, there's warm traffic, there's cold traffic. And the way that I approach each of these types of traffic is gonna be different, okay? All right, so that moves now to step number two, which is our pre-frame bridge, okay? And I want to spend a minute on pre-framing because this is the key to everything. If you get this, like, man, this will be worth 10 times your entire investment to be here, is the concept of framing, okay? And it seems really, really simple, and I'm afraid that some of you guys will just move past it because it's so simple. But it's really, really important. So in NLP, there's a concept called framing, right? Where here's a frame, right? The frame that someone enters through and they move through something, that frame will have more effect on the outcome on the next side than anything else. Okay, so let me kind of explain that. So when I first got in this business, my first mentor was a guy named Mark Joyner. And I remember he did this teleseminar called "Not All Clicks Are Created Equal." I'm like, what does that mean? And he got on this teleseminar. He's like, you know, a lot of people think that like a click to your website's a click, and he's like, it's not. Like not all clicks are created equal. He started talking about this pre-framing concept. He said, look, if you were to go to a website and you see this ad that says, or a blog post that says, hey, Russell Brunson is a scam artist. I signed up for his program. He took $25,000. He never showed up. He didn't deliver. He didn't come to the event. It was a horrible experience. I hope he dies. Click here to check out his new product. Okay? That's a frame someone just went through. They click on it and they see my thing. Like, that's a frame they just went through, right? How did that frame affect what's going to happen on the next page? Is anyone going to buy? No, but they come to a frame that says, hey, Russell Brunson, you know, I was scared I invested $25,000. It scared the crap out of me, but after I did that, first off, I found out he really cared. He showed up at the events, he put his all in, he did everything he could to make sure that I was successful, and from that process, I went from not having any money to making a lot of money. In fact, this year we did over $1 million. You should check out his new product, click down below. Okay? The sales page is exactly the same. The funnel they're going to is the exact same. The only difference is the frame that someone entered in when they got there. Okay? This is true not just in online sales, it's true in everything, right? It's true in phone sales, it's true in personalities and relationships. I might talk tomorrow about this, like just like how you do everything in life is, you know, the frame you enter something through, like your personality, like how you enter anything, like any situation in life, that frame will completely change the outcome. So it's a big deal. But the first thing is that pre-frame, right? Now, every single step in this process is in and of itself a pre-frame, okay? It's a frame for the next thing. That's a kind of a key to understand as well. Like the front-end product is a pre-frame for the upsell. The upsell is a pre-frame for my high-ticket thing. So this framing concept is not just on step 2. It's happening in every single step along the way. And we see in the funnel hacker concept, the same thing like funnel catcher. Everything we're doing are pre-frames, okay? So that's key to understand. So the pre-frame bridge I take someone through is going to be different depending on what type of traffic they're coming from, right? So if this traffic is hot and they love me and they think I'm the greatest thing in the world, my pre-frame bridge typically is really, really small. I can send an email and that can be my pre-frame. I can say, this supplement's freaking awesome, go buy it. That can be my pre-frame. Okay, it can be really, really short because those people are so warm, they don't need a lot, right? It's something to get them in motion and moving forward. Okay, with your warm audience, these people typically don't have a relationship with you, but they have a relationship with somebody, right? And so, so like if I did a webinar with, for example, we did a webinar with Siobhan a little while ago. I'm not sure, yeah. And so she's got a warm audience, right? That love her, trust her. So she did a webinar with us. She was a warm audience, and she said, "Hey, Russell's webinar is awesome. You guys should go check that." Her email to her list was a pre-frame. They came through that pre-frame, and it was an email, and that's what warmed them up to then come and be on the webinar and participate and to buy, right? So that's the pre-frame bridge. With cold traffic, which is going to be the majority of what we talk about today and tomorrow, typically the pre-frame bridge is going to be longer, okay? Because a lot of times, especially, let's say I'm coming to someone, I'm approaching them down here where they're problem aware, right? Let's say for example, let's say you're in the weight loss space, right? Like we flew out last month and spent time with Dave Asprey, right? And his whole mission, his whole message is like, you need to eat high fat, butter in your coffee, all that kind of stuff, right? Like the diet is like have 80% of your calories need to come from fat, right? Now that's something that's like over here, like you gotta be really aware to understand like why that's good. Okay, if I come down to these people over here, I'm like, hey, this is the deal, you're fat because someone's problem aware, right? I'm overweight, like I'm miserable. And if I came to them like, hey, this is the secret. If you wanna lose some weight, you gotta up your calories. 80% of your calories need to come from fat, right? Like, are you kidding me? Like I'm a big fat guy, there's no way I'm gonna eat more fat. Like, it doesn't make sense, right? But they're problem aware, they understand they're overweight, so I gotta come to them at that spot and I need to give them a pre-frame bridge to help them understand that, right? One of the products that we got brought on to do the funnels and stuff for is a new product that puts your body in ketosis, right? And so, which is kind of similar thing we're trying to do over here. So my thing is like, how do I get this out to the masses? Like I got to figure out something that gets them at their problem. So like the ad and the ad that we're writing for says something like these weird salts force your body to eat its own fat. Okay, so that's like this unique like headline, right? So someone's out there and they're feeling overweight and they're like, this salt's gonna make my body eat its own fat. Like, does that make you curious? Like, I gotta click on that, right? So you click on that, then it'll take you over to like this problem aware thing, like, hey, if you've been overweight and you've tried this diet and this diet and this diet, there's something kind of interesting. There's these new type of salts, when you take them, it actually causes your body to eat its own fat. Like, can you imagine that? Like, and then and it talks about this process. It doesn't say ketosis, it doesn't say, high fat diet, it doesn't say all these things. It meets them where they're at and explains this cool thing they can do it. And now in here, I'm transitioning them from being a problem aware up to solution aware. Okay, now they understand like, this is why a high fat diet is important, and I transition to here and then to here. So I'm using this pre-frame to meet them right where they're at, grab them, hold their hand, and teach them and educate them and get them to be warmed up. Does that make sense? Okay, and again, I'm gonna show you guys 100 examples of this today, but that's kind of the concept. So that's what these pre-frame bridges are. The whole goal of them is to grab someone where they're at and get them prepared for the next message, right? And again, it's gonna be different based on if they're warm traffic, cold traffic, hot traffic, and hot traffic, all right. Okay, so that's phase number 2. Now phase number 3 is after that traffic, those people have come over to me, my next goal is I gotta figure out of all these people that came to my thing, which people are in so much pain that they're willing to trade me their email address in exchange for more information and more whatever, right? I gotta figure out who are my subscribers. Because most people will never subscribe to your email list. And if they won't subscribe to your email list, you're probably not gonna buy anything. And so I wanna find out as quick as possible who's willing to actually give me their email address. So my next phase in here is my opt-in form, my squeeze page, my whatever, and there's a ton of different ways we can do that, and we'll talk about those. But somewhere where I'm getting their email address, right? So that's the next step. I get their email address. Now I know of all the traffic I sent here, these are the people who are in so much pain, they're willing to exchange something for more, right? They give me their email address. That's a level of commitment, okay? One thing you'll notice through this process that's kind of interesting, I served the mission for 2 years, and so I was out knocking on doors every single day in New Jersey in the sweltering heat with a shirt and tie on, and it was awesome, right? And so I was doing that, and what's interesting is like after talking to thousands of people, getting the door slammed in your face more times than you would ever believe, it was interesting. I started seeing that like if we could get people to make like little tiny commitments, then like initially, then I could get them to make bigger commitments. Like people who make small commitments will make bigger commitments. People who won't make the small commitment will never make the big commitment, right? So I get them the door, I knock on the door, and I'm like, I got like 1 second for them to give me a commitment. If they make a commitment, then I can start talking. So I'd ask them a quick question like, hey, I saw right here you got some toys on the ground. Like, do you have some kids? Like, oh yeah, I got 3 kids. Boom, they just made a commitment. They just talked to me, right? So I made a little micro commitment. I'm saying, awesome. Like, one of the favorite things about the church we're out talking about is that we believe families can be forever. And they're like, oh. I'm like, do you believe families can be forever? And like, yeah. And boom, I made another commitment, right? So I'm asking these questions, and I'm trying to get in, and then I ask them another question, and then I'm trying to make these little commitments. And I might say, hey, I need you to read this verse. I'm going to give you this book. I want you to read this verse. I'm going to come back tomorrow, and we'll talk about it. And they're like, okay. So I give them the book. I leave. I come back next day. If they read a verse, then I know that next I can teach a lesson, and like I can progress someone. If I come back and they're like, I didn't have a chance to read it, I know instantly that person is not someone who will make or keep commitments. Okay. And so I saw that over and over as 2 years of getting the door slammed in my face. I saw that process dozens of times. It's the exact same thing here. I'm trying to get people to make commitments every single step along this way. And you'll see some really cool, when we talk about some of the pre-framers, some of the quizzes and some of the cool things where I'm getting these little micro commitments to happen. But if I can cause these little micro commitments, it's amazing like the pre-frame they cause on the next side. One of the guys who's in our one of our mastermind groups, he had a webinar. He was driving traffic to the webinar, was making a bunch of money. And then he thought, I'm going to put a quiz in front of the webinar. So he just took a quiz. Everything else didn't change at all. So he put this quiz out there. And the quiz is like, ask 5 or 6 random questions. And he said yes, then took him to the webinar page. Nothing else changed at all. Webinar was the same, registration, everything else was the same. What he did is he put this thing to qualify subscribers in front to get them doing something, to get them making little tiny commitments. Went through that process, and the webinar stats, he did 2.5 times as many sales on the webinar. Just by making these little micro commitments, by doing little, it's just crazy. It's so weird that happens. So this whole process, I'm trying to get people to make little commitments, right? So click on this ad, read this article, give me your email address. I'm making these commitments, right? Because if they make the little ones, people make little commitments, make big commitments. I want to find out who those people are quick, because I want to weed out all the rest of the people. Those who won't make commitments, like I don't have time to focus on them. I don't want to worry about them. I only want to work with people who make and keep commitments, okay? So that's the phase number 4. Now, after they've given me their email address, they've come into my world. Now I want to find out, the next step is not only who will make commitments, but of all the people that have given me their email address, how many of those people are actually buyers? Okay, I need to know as quick as possible who my buyers are. I learned from Dan Kennedy when I first got started in this business. He said, you have to understand that a buyer is a buyer is a buyer. Someone who buys once will continue to buy until you screw up the relationship. That's how it works, right? And so I want to find out as quick as possible, like, who are my buyers? Because if I know who my buyers are, I can work with them different. I can do different things. I'll spend more money to market to them, right? That's why you guys have seen my book funnel, right? Why did I give my book for free? You want to find out instantly, like, who are my buyers? Because if they're willing to put in their credit card for a free book, now they've qualified themselves. Now I know they're buyers. Now I might call them on the phone, or I might send them a sales letter in the mail. I might market to them differently. But I got to find out who my buyers are as quick as possible, right? So that's step number 4, qualify my buyers. Then identify, phase number 5 is now, not only do I want to know my buyers, like, who are my hyperactive buyers? How many of you guys in this room are hyperactive buyers? You're in this room. Just saying. This might be time for us to have an intervention. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure some of you guys have heard me tell the story before, but I am definitely a hyperactive buyer. When I get into something, I get really, really into something. I think one time Anthony and I had I don't know where Anthony's at. Over there. We had a call, and we're just like talking about supplements. And he just mentions like 20 supplements he takes. And I'm like writing down as fast as I could. And like while we're on the phone, I'm like buying them. Because I'm like, those all sound amazing. Like, I want all of them right now. Like, I don't want to wait. And I'm like rush shipping, like, Amazon Prime's got 2 days. I'm like, I can't wait for 2 days. Like, I got to do the overnight. And I'm like, if there was an option where they just drop it off like in an hour, I would have done that. Because I'm just like, I need these in my body, We went bowling with our company a couple years ago. And I love bowling. It's my 3rd favorite sport. And behind wrestling, then jiu-jitsu and bowling. Actually, it was bowling number 2, and then jiu-jitsu bumped it out recently. So anyway, so we're bowling with our team. And I'm not an amazing bowler, but like I can hold my own, right? I can break 200 every once in a while. So we're bowling, and I beat everybody on the team except for one guy beats me. And of course, he knows how competitive I am. He just has to make fun of me for like the rest of the night. And I'm just like in so much pain, right? I'm a buyer in pain. And so I go home that night, and I'm just like, my wife's asleep. I'm sitting there just angry, and I'm like, I can't believe he beat me. Like, I got to figure this out. So I'm searching online, like bowling, like trying to figure out, like, what did I do wrong? Like, was I stepping too far? Whatever. I'm like, crap, I can't figure it out from all this free stuff. I need to buy something. Like, it'll make me feel better. So I went and I bought some new bowling shoes. So I was like, house shoes suck. Like, obviously, that's why I'm slipping, right? I need my own shoes. I can take care of the environment, or the situation. I had my own ball, but I found out there's a strike ball and a spare ball. I'm like, well, crap, if I had the spare ball, I would have beat him. So I bought 2 new balls. I got one of the wrist guards, because like by the 3rd game, like my hook was gone, because whatever. So I bought the wrist guard, and when I went through, I spent tons of money. I bought some training DVDs. I bought just as much bowling stuff as I could that night, because I was in pain and I needed to solve that problem, right? And then in the morning I woke up and I forgot about it, and a week later, all this bowling stuff starts coming. My wife's pissed, and I'm like, oh yeah, like I was in pain. I was a buyer in heat, right? And so I want to figure out, you got to figure out who your buyers in heat are, because this is the deal. Like, when somebody's in that pain and they want to get out of it, they're not just coming to your website, as much as you may think that you're the only person in the world, right? They go to your website and they go to your competitors, they go to the other, they start buying as much stuff as out there, okay? Because they want to get their problem solved. And so if you're not willing to give it to them, like, they're going to go somewhere else for it. And I want to find out who those people are, like, who is serious about this, like, not just like I'm dabbling, but I'm into it. And so that's why we have our upsells. That's why we have other things in place, because I want to identify exactly who my hyperactive buyers are. Because again, I'm going to treat those people different. Somebody who spends $1,000 in upsells buying my product, we can market those people differently. We're going to call them differently. We're going to do different things with them, right? So that's kind of next step. Identify your hyperactive buyers. Now that, just so you guys know, this process right here, right, from here to step 5, this is all happening in one session, right, in the funnel, right? They see an ad, they click on it. They read something, they subscribe, they buy, they upsell, and boom, that's the transaction, right? So that's all happening point of sale. Okay, if we were at the Buckle, this is everything that lady sold me at the cart, right? Now I got all my stuff, cool. Now the problem with most people is like they do all that and then they're like, all right, well, we're good. Okay, and I start thinking about like what's the next step, like where do we go from here? And this is where we start transitioning to the next step, right? Like after someone's bought and they've gone through this good experience, now our next step in the process is to take that relationship that we've kind of started and how do we ascend that? How do we take it somewhere different, right? Someone buy my book, that's awesome. I'm really, really excited. But like my goal for someone isn't just to buy the book. My goal is for someone to come here and be in this room right here. And then from this room's awesome. I love you guys in this room. But I want all you guys in the inner circle. Like how many of you guys were in the inner circle the last 2 days? Was it freaking amazing or what? Yeah. Okay. Like I want you guys in that group. Like I'm going to keep trying to send you guys and give you as much value as possible because you should be in that group, right? Like that's my goal is I'm trying to like age and ascend this relationship. Like what can I do? How much more value can I provide? What can I do cool to get you and get other people to ascend up to those higher levels, right? That's the goal. And typically, if you want to get people to buy more expensive things, you can't always do it in the same selling environment, right? It's really hard to sell a $25,000 thing on an order form. Anyone ever gone to a website, saw an order button, clicked on it, 25 grand, and like filled out the credit card and clicked submit? Someone in here has. I know someone has. It's hard. I've tried to sell. I think the highest I've ever sold just from like an order form was $5,000. I was like, I can't believe people bought. Not very many people bought, but we sold some. I was like, dang. I tried 10 one time and nobody bought. I was like, okay. So to get people to spend more money, like you have to get them out of their comfort zone. You have to break the pattern, get them out of where they're at. Because most people in fact, Noah was telling me the story yesterday. Like when he was moving his house, right? He had his corner desk. He's got his computers. He got his affirmations. Like this is his world, right? And he said that he moved his entire house and didn't touch that because he didn't want to screw with his like this is his like domain, right? He owns this. This is like he has 100% control here, right? And he moved the entire house out and finally was like, okay, I'll break this down. He took that out last, right? And that's what you're dealing with people, right? They're at their home in their computer. They've got mine. I got my monitors wrapping me. I got all this stuff. I got my music. I got I own this spot. Like I control it, right? And so for you to come and try to penetrate that and try to get somebody out of that and to sell something is really, really hard. So if I want to get somebody, I need to change the selling environment. I got to take them away from their computer. I got to get them on the phone. I got to take them away and get them on a webinar. I got to take them away, get them to a live. I got to change that process somehow because when they're sitting there protected in their spot, it's hard to, it's just like you're breaking a fortress, right? So we got to change that experience. And so that's kind of the last phase here is changing the selling environment. So those are the core phases of a funnel. I know some of you guys have gone through that before. I want you to understand that because this will help, again, it's a good framework for everything else we'll be covering today. All right, so here's the spectrum again. So something I want you to think about is this is the goal of all my marketing, right? To move someone from cold to warm to hot. Okay, in all aspects of life, I would say. I was thinking about my wife the first time, right? I met her, I'm like, dang, she is cute, right? But she's the cold prospect. She problem aware. She knew that she wanted someone. She didn't know it was me. So I got to warm her up to the idea, right? And make her solution aware and then product aware. And we're moving people through this process, right? In dating it happens. With employees it happens. Like any aspect of your life, like that's what's happening, right? So all of my marketing, like that's the goal, is to get somebody to move. And prospects, people, customers, whatever you want to call them, will come into your business and they'll migrate through it. Sometimes people are hot, they're excited, but then after a while they might cool off and they become warm and they might even become cold again. So it's always a constant thing of how do I get people to the hot side and keep them there, right? So everything we're doing in business is kind of doing that thing, right? So again, we talked about earlier in internet marketing, there's kind of 3 core funnels, right? We've got our Tripwire funnel, we got our webinar funnel, and our high ticket funnel, right? Now, think about this. Like the goal of the Tripwire is to convert a cold customer, right? And then we move them up to a webinar where they're warmer, and then a high ticket where they're hot. Right? Like that's how I always thought business was. Like I always thought like this is the path you have to take everybody through, which is true, right? This works. But what's interesting is actually the first time I really thought about this because I looked at my business and my business was all about this. Like I had free plus shipping offers, I had low ticket offers, a bunch of front end things that I only focused on cold traffic when we ascended people up. I started working with Liz, and I remember she was like, "Okay, Russell, I'm gonna build a Tripwire, then a webinar, and then a high ticket." And I was like, and I remember like my first call to her, I'm like, I don't think, like your personality, I think would do better on a webinar. Like I think we should just cut and go straight to webinar. But she's like, but how many cold leads to ascend up and all this stuff? I'm like, and I started thinking more about this, and I realized that while this is true, right? You do take somebody through from cold to warm to hot in a funnel like this. You also you kind of do it at every step in the funnel as well. Okay, so for example, we drive cold traffic to all 3 of these pages, and all 3 of them convert. But to get them to convert, the sales process is a little bit different to get them from cold to warm to hot. Okay? So down here on my low ticket, it's easy to get somebody to get warmed up, right? I'm like, hey, do you want to learn how to make money online? Here's a free book. Like the sales process is simple, right? It's not that hard, and the price barrier is really low, so it's not that hard. Okay? On a webinar, someone might come and register for a webinar, and the sales process is different though because they didn't already buy something from me, they don't know anything about me, so I got to take them through a webinar, right? A 90-minute presentation. And the goal of my webinar, like if you look at the perfect webinar script, like one of the major goals of that is to convert someone from cold to warm to hot, right? Like how many of you guys got on the Funnel Hacks webinar and never knew who I was before that webinar? That's awesome. And how many guys by the end gave me a whole bunch of money and then upgraded and now you're here? Okay, the same amount of people, right? Because I'm warm at that process, I'm going from cold to warm to hot. And same thing with high ticket. Liz had never heard of me, Liz had never bought from me. She came and saw the page, watched the video, and then she joined the high ticket program. Okay, tons of people went and just watched Liz's video and then they joined the program because, but the process is different, right? It's not a sales letter selling a $25,000 thing. It's not a webinar. It's a different process. So for example, if I'm selling a low ticket product, the script is Star Storage Solution. The goal of that script is to get someone from cold to warm to hot. Okay? If you look at the perfect webinar, the goal of that is to get someone from cold to warm to hot. And then the goal of the 2-step, this is our call center script, is to go from cold to warm to hot. Okay? And so each of those funnels, like in and of itself, that's the goal of it, is to get someone cold to warm to hot. So you can drive traffic to all of them when you understand that's how it works. Okay? And so people always ask me, well, Russell, which funnel should I do first? Should I do a Tripwire first? Should I do webinar first? Should I do high ticket first? Okay? So how many of you guys already have your front end funnel done and you know what it is? Cool. How many of you guys don't yet? You're kind of in between. Okay, cool. So about half and half, I'd say. So when you're thinking through this, I was thinking about this the other day, that how we sell in each of these is a little bit different, right? The very first one is either driven by a sales letter, like text copy, or like a video of me basically giving a sales letter, right? So it's sold that way. So if you're someone who's comfortable either writing or selling like through video, like that's probably the best one for you to start with. Okay? Now some of you, in fact, how many of you guys feel like that's your boat? Like I'm really good, I can write a sales letter, or I can pitch something like a free plus shipping thing. How many of you guys feel like that's like where you're comfortable selling something? Okay, cool. So that's probably like the front end funnel you should focus on. Okay, the next one is a webinar, right? Now this one, the sales process is different. This is typically someone who's got a ton of energy, a ton of excitement in there. They're captivating an audience for 90 minutes and then selling something at the end. How many of you guys feel like that's my selling platform? Like that one fires me up and I want to sell that way all the time. Okay, about a third there. Okay, so if that's like your style of selling, then that's awesome, right? Now, how many guys like I just want to get on the phone with someone? If they pick up the phone, they're giving me money. How many of you guys feel like that? Okay, so about a third. So we got a third. And so for you, I would say you can start with any funnel here. I don't care which one it is, but think about your style. Okay, for me, if I had to get on the phone with someone and try to sell them on the phone, nothing on earth scares me more. Like it freaks me out so bad. In fact, sometimes Robbie or Randy or Derek will be like, hey, can you jump on the phone and this person asks a couple of questions before they sign up? I'm like, I will lose the sale for you every time. Like and they've done it twice and both times I lost the sale for them. And so we don't do it anymore. Like they know, don't put Russell on the phone because he sucks at phone sales more than anyone on earth. Like it scares me so bad. Yeah. Some people do. So what I'm saying is eventually you're going to want all of them. But at first, you don't want to do all of them, right? You got to find out what you're most comfortable with. Like, for me to do a high ticket thing, I knew that I would never get on the phone. So until I had people in place who that was their superpower and they could get on the phone, they could close sales, I wouldn't do that one. Now that I have it, I can do it, right? If you're like a webinar person and you suck on webinars, like you probably shouldn't do a webinar funnel first, right? And this is kind of interesting. I hope Jason, my IT, is like, Jason's good on webinars, doing webinars really, really good. But then Joel came. Where's Joel at? Joel right here. Comes like, hey, I'm pretty good at webinars. Jason, how do you do your webinar? And Jason's like, sure, man. And so Joel does his webinar. And like 3 times how many sales Jason did. And Jason's like, sweet, I'm never doing a webinar again. And Joel's been crushing webinars from like $100,000 a month right now, just crushing over and over and over again, because Joel's awesome at webinars, right? So if you suck at webinars, don't do it. Either find someone to do that webinar for you, like I found someone to do my high ticket sales, or don't start there, right? With the front end, if you feel good on video or writing a sell, whatever, these 3 selling styles is different. That's the core thing I'm trying to get. There are different ways to sell. So you got to figure out for you, like which one you're most comfortable with that you like. That's where you start at. And that's where we're going to initially get people in. And then from there, you can go and you can start building out the other ones, building out a team, finding people to do other pieces. But initially, figure out like what you're most comfortable with, your selling style, and starting there. Yeah. Yeah, so her comment was, some of my training in the past, I talked about how like a lot of times I'll start with the back end first. And that's more on the product development side. Because on the product development side, like I might do a big event, record it, and then that might become all the stuff for the tripwire, right? Or it might become what I sell on the webinar, or it might become what I sell on high ticket. So from a product creation standpoint, 100% agree for there. But then how do I sell that product? There's different selling styles, right? So that's kind of what I'm saying right here. So how many guys are tripwire people? How many guys are webinar people? How many guys are high ticket people? How many guys feel comfortable with 2 things? How many feel good with 3 things? A couple superhumans here. All right. I personally feel really good at tripwire and webinar. Like I feel like I can sell anything, any day, all day long, but don't get me on the phone, okay? So that's kind of what I want you guys to kind of thinking through. All right. So my question for you guys then is, what is going to be your very first break-even funnel? Because that's the goal, right? That's the 10 weeks we're going to go on with you guys starting on Monday is building out the break-even funnel. Like that's the thing. So you got to figure out which one of those 3 funnels is the one you want to focus on. Yes, I can. In fact, the next slide happens to be the break-even funnel. Yeah. All right. So this is the goal, right? This is the goal of the 10-week course. This is the goal of every funnel we create initially is I want a break-even funnel, okay? And so this is what a break-even funnel is. Basically, I've got traffic coming into a funnel, and if this funnel breaks even, so I put $1 in Facebook ads and I make $1, I won. It's $1 million a year business. Okay, that's the goal. The goal is not to build a webinar or a funnel or whatever that makes me $300,000 a month. Like that's cool, and sometimes that happens, and it's really, really exciting. But that's not the goal. All you need is, my goal in business is to get customers, right? When I have customers, now I can go take them from cold to warm to hot, and these people will buy anything I tell them in the future, right? That's the goal. Okay, and I'm going to talk about that here before lunch, some of the things we do to get people hot, get them warm, and get them there. But that's my goal, is to get people so I can build a bond, build a relationship, so they'll buy everything I tell them to do, right? So my initial goal is not to sell them everything. My initial goal is to get that customer in, right? But a customer can cost a lot of money, right? Like when, Jason, for your webinar, how much do you spend on average per webinar registrant? So $3.60 he pays for someone to register for his webinar, right? Now that's awesome. That brings somebody into your world, but you got to have something to break to cover those costs, right? So every 1,000 people is costing $3,600. For 100,000 people, it's costing, it gets expensive. And so your first funnel is just, the whole goal of that is just to break even. So that every single customer I get is, I'm getting customers for free. Because if you build a business where you get customers for free, then everything else you sell them afterwards is 100% profit. You keep all of that. And that's the business we're talking about. So you create a break-even funnel, you drive traffic into this, you spend $1, you break even, and then out the bottom of this pops out a customer. Oh, I got a customer now. And if I got that customer for free, that's a win. Okay, that's $1 million a year business if I have a funnel that can get me customers for free. Now sometimes we get a funnel that doesn't break even, but it loses money, okay? If it loses money, some businesses, that's how they operate. Some businesses, in fact, you guys right here, what's in your funnel, what's your break-even point typically? How long does it take till you get to break-even? 6 months. So 6 months. So they lose money on the break-even funnel, and after 6 months of selling these things right here, then they break even, and then they make money. They're in like 30, 40 million bucks a year. Like, big deal, right? But they're able to go, they understand they can lose money during this initial funnel and still build a huge, huge, huge business, right? And so you don't have to break even immediately. Now for me, not breaking even immediately stresses me out so bad that I can't do it. How many guys are in a similar boat? Okay, when we launched Nursell, the second funnel we did was like a free plus shipping thing, and it took us 45 days to break even. And like, oh, it's like, it made me like, my risk tolerance can't handle that. Like, it stresses me out. Some people are like, oh, it's cool. And in fact, I got friends who do 5,000 or 6,000 bottles a day on free plus shipping. It takes them 90 days to break even, and they get lenders to lend them money for that time. And I'm just like, man, that stresses me out so bad. But that's like their whole business model, right? So if you're comfortable with that, that's good. But I'm not. So my goal is I have to at least break even. So if I can break even, I'm like ecstatic. Now sometimes we build a funnel that doesn't break even. Sometimes we build a funnel that's profitable. How many of you guys have a funnel right now that's profitable on the front end? A couple people. What's it feel like? Yeah. If you can spend $1 in ads and make $2 or $3 or $5 or $10, that's amazing. So obviously, my goal for you guys is to get better than a break even. But if you have a break even, you should be celebrating. That's a big deal. That's an exciting thing. Because now you're getting customers for free. Customers come in, and now all the other stuff we want to offer these guys in the future is just pure cash. Okay, a good example of this, Liz Benny. I wish she was here. She'd be fun telling you guys a story. But she Voxed me last night, and she did nothing but a webinar for almost a year. I think they did $700,000 or $800,000 just from the webinar, right? That's the one funnel she had. Now she's like, okay, now I want to do a back-end thing. So we helped her structure a back-end funnel. And she sent an email out to like a little tiny portion of her list because she didn't know how to sell or anything, right? And she got a couple sales, and then she stopped for like 2 months because, I don't know, she just was waiting for whatever reason. And then yesterday, or 2 days ago, she turned her high-ticket funnel back on. She emailed a tiny portion of the list. She got, I think, 17 applications. First two people they called, they closed for like, I think 10 or 12 grand a piece. And then yesterday she called, and like the third person they called, they sold $25,000. And guess what their costs were for those customers? Zero. Because the webinar already paid for those people months and months and months ago. Okay, so every single penny of that money she keeps 100%. Like, that's the goal with this entire business, you guys. Build a funnel that breaks even so that tomorrow or a month from now or whenever it is you decide to open up a continuity program, a high ticket, you promote someone else's offer, you make up a new idea for a product, or whatever it is, when you sell to those people, 100% of the money comes back to you. And that's where the business wins, right? So this is our goal with creating a break-even funnel. In fact, you actually get this all tattooed to your arm or whatever it is, because like if you can get that, like it's off to the races, right? Now this is what it feels like when you have a successful break-even funnel. Anyway, I found this. I've used this on like 3 presentations because it's like my favorite picture in the world, favorite gift in the world. Unlimited free money. All right. Okay. So typically, if you guys want a good break-even funnel, it's got to be a cold traffic break-even funnel, because it's nice to have a break-even funnel that works to Tony Robbins successful coaches, but that world is like this big. Okay. So if I want something that I can scale, that I can make a lot more money, we've got to figure out how to make it a cold offer. And that's what I'm going to talk about for the next little bit here is how do we make this offer a cold offer? Because if it's a cold offer, then I can go to the masses, and it opens up my world infinitely. Whereas if I keep it warm, I can make a lot of money off that, but you're stuck in this little bubble, and it's hard to grow beyond that. It's hard to get more traffic. It's hard to get bigger. That's why a lot of people struggle when they try to go off Facebook, because they're so used to like advertising this little warm market who understands them, and Facebook kicks them off. They're like, where do I get more warm people? It's hard. Okay? It's hard to go find an email list you can rent with authors, speakers, consultants. Okay? It's hard. It's hard to go find, anything consistent where I can drive those. That's why Facebook was so great for a while. It's still good, but it was great for a while where I could find exactly what I wanted and get my message in front of them. And there's not many platforms you can still do that with. And Facebook says it's getting harder and harder. So if I want to really grow and scale my business, I got to have a cold funnel that becomes my break-even funnel. Okay. All right, so I'm going to walk through, there's a couple steps you have to go to have a successful cold traffic break-even funnel. And this is number one. And this is going to be an exercise we're going to do. We're going to spend probably 5 minutes or so on this. Because this is the key. When you guys can get this, it's going to be awesome. So what we're going to do is understand that the way you communicate with people each level is the secret, okay? A lot of people are like, how do you convert to cold traffic, Russell? And it's 100% your language, like how you're speaking, right? Excuse me. So, for example, for a hot traffic, and this is one of our old offers that we made a lot of money with. We had an offer that was it was like how to build a list and make a whole bunch of money, right? So warm people know what a list is, right? Cold people have no idea. This is kind of the litmus test to know if your offer is going to work to cold traffic. So imagine today at lunch, you go down to the Boise Mall, you walk into the food court, all these people hustling and bustling, and you're watching all these people go crazy, and then you pull out a chair, you stand up on it, and you yell from the top of your lungs, hey, who here wants to learn how to build a huge email list? How many people do you think in the food court would raise their hand? Maybe one? Probably no. They look at you like, what is he talking about? Is he crazy? Does he have Tourette's? Like, what's he yelling about, right? They had no idea. So that's the test. So we had a warm traffic offer that was, let me show you how to build a list, right? So it worked good to my warm market. Then I started going to cold traffic. I was driving ads from Newsmax and from Republican sites and from blogs and all these different things. I'm like, hey, build a list, and nobody's clicking. Like, come on, guys, this is the secret sauce. Like, if you have a list, you're rich. Like, don't you get it? And they're like, no. And so we made a new offer that said free money-making website. Okay, so now imagine I walk to the food court, locking all the people, just pull up my chair, stand on it. I'm like, hey, who wants a free money-making website? How do you think people in the food court would be like, I'm in, right? That's how you know if your offer is going to work to cold traffic, okay? So what I want you guys to do right now for this exercise, and I'll have John turn the music on while we do it for about 5 minutes or so, is I want you to take whatever your offer is right now, okay? Because I'm guessing that 90% of you guys have already are selling it to people who are most aware, right? So I want you to write like your most aware headline or whatever you want to call it, and then I want you to write one that's a product aware, solution aware, problem aware, and unaware. And the unaware, again, the test is going to be if I stand up in the food court and I scream on top of my lungs, will the majority of people want to raise their hand? That's how we know if it works over here. Okay, so if this was me right now, and if I was doing this for ClickFunnels, let's say, right? My headline over here, my most aware headline would be like, who wants to have marketing automation software that builds out emails, or builds out funnels and sends out emails? Okay, the geeks in the room are like, yeah, I want that. They're the most aware, right? So then product aware. I'm going to say, hey, you sick of lead pages? They freaking suck, right? You can't even move things around. How'd you like to use ClickFunnels? You can actually move things around on your page. Oh, sweet, I'm in, right? So that's my product aware. Solution aware. Are you sick and tired of trying to build websites and hiring designers and getting people to do this stuff? Like, it's so frustrating, right? I've got a solution that's going to make this really, really easy. It's called ClickFunnels. Okay, that's solution aware. Problem aware would be this thing of how many of you guys would like more leads for your business, right? They have a problem, like they have no customers. How many of you guys need customers? How many of you guys need leads? Okay, I got this cool software, ClickFunnels, that's going to get you guys leads and get you guys customers. And then down here, my unaware would be like, who wants to get rich on the internet? You need a funnel. I don't know. Free money-making website would probably be my offer again. So that's kind of like how I would do something like that for ClickFunnels, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, you guys are all going to do that right now. So we're going to spend 5 minutes. I want you to write one for each of these, and then I'm going to have 3 or 4 of you guys who think you got the coolest ones to share it. And the way you're going to share it is you're going to stand on a chair and scream at the top of your lungs. So if you know that might be you, write a really good one, and we'll have you guys do it. So let's cue the music, and we'll do it in about 5 minutes. Okay. How many of you guys are stuck on this? It takes a little bit to think through, huh? Well, that's good. This is something that normally isn't a 5-minute exercise. For me, it's usually a while. I got to think through this and really kind of put myself in people's shoes. But I wanted you guys to kind of take a shot at it. So who is willing to share some of their headlines? All right, Bonnie, you want to come to the microphone? I got you a chair you can stand on and yell if you like as well. Yay. Woohoo, Bonnie. Give her a round of applause for...
Okay, so for cold, who wants to hire the most talented people for pennies on the dollar to help them build the business of their dreams?
Okay.
Okay. Warm, who wants to have a dream team for 95% off?
Okay.
Hold on a second. And the last one is getting crappy workers on Upwork. I'll show you how to get a PhD level person for less than $8 an hour. And
Awesome.
I think replacing the word person with virtual assistant might be a little better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's awesome.
Cool.
Give her a round of applause. You like that?
The unaware crowd is who wants to lose weight and take their health back. The problem aware is who wants to lower your risk of disease. Solution aware, who wants to cleanse your cells naturally. Product aware is who wants to balance your pH and become more alkaline. And the most aware is what product is best for you to lose weight, balance your pH, and experience longevity, or what product is best for daily detox? What is the most pure product for daily detox?
Cool. I think only thing I would say on product aware, I would go more to like other products, right? This is like almost like they're comparison shopping at you versus, you know,
Okay.
or like the other thing to think about with she's got a green drink. The other thing about that is thinking like solution aware could be like what other solutions do they have? They could be juicing, right? I can go buy all these things. So like that's one solution. Or the other solution is sassy grass, right? And then product aware could be more like you got sassy grass, you got the other ones. I can't think. Athletic
Yeah.
Greens, like the actual products, like that. So
Okay, that's good feedback. Maybe that's why we're not converting. Okay, thanks.
no, very good. Thank you. Okay, well, nice. You can Lucho's up.
All right, so this is for a nutrition certification. So for the unaware is one quick home study course that will demystify nutrition. Problem aware, one certification that can add $10,000 a month to your bottom line. Solution aware, stop the income roller coaster in the health and fitness industry with one certification. Product aware, cool custom nutrition solution software that cuts hours off of your work and adds $10,000 a month to your bottom line. And most aware, this one's kind of long, 3-day live hands-on training business in a box event that walks you through step-by-step process to creating custom nutrition plans that get results and adds $10,000 to your bottom line.
Cool. Say the very first one. I think I like all of them except for the first one.
The first one is home study course that finally demystifies nutrition.
Okay, I don't like that one. Because that
Neither-
one,
neither
if I'm the
does
food
this.
court, like, who wants a home study course to help demystify nutrition, right? Like,
Yeah, I was trying to talk to something that there's so much misconception, so much misinformation about nutrition. People are finally looking for the one thing that will explain.
you're
it.
selling a business opportunity, right?
Well, yeah, it's first a
So
nutrition
think about it.
certification.
So if I walk in the food court, I'm yelling at people, who wants to make money, help people get less fat, or something like that, right? That's gonna be like, yeah, I can help people get less fat. Like, you know what I mean? So again, think the food court when you're yelling it out.
Okay.
Especially on that end of the spectrum. The other ones I love.
Okay. Cool.
Cool, thank you.
Thanks.
Everyone's hands are up. You guys fight over it? All right, you're up. And then we'll do Noah, and then we're done. I got a lot more to cover.
I'm a chiropractor, so it's chiropractic market. It's a very specified niche. So unaware. I stole this from you. It happened again. You woke up and you have no idea why you became a chiropractor. Problem aware. Don't you hate that dream when you were late to work and you get there and then you have no idea what you're doing, and that's if your dream even lets you get there. Solution aware. Why do you keep doing the same thing over and over, but yet you're still surprised when your practice fails? You know what the problem is, and now let's do something about it. Product aware. You listen to the products. No, you listen to the podcasts. You've heard Sigafoo speak. So what's holding you back from taking the next step? Fear? Well, we can help you with that too. Most aware. Sigafoos.com. Why are you waiting? I mean, we've been on this journey together since the beginning.
Cool. That's good. It's easier to critique if I can see it written out, but that's good. Okay, Noah, and then we'll be done. And then you guys should at lunchtime share these with each other and really help critique each other. It'd be fun.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Noah Hammond-Turrell. Nice to see you all. This is for a business building course and training course for transformational leaders. We teach them how to understand their perfect client, build their business systems, coach the people well, and be awesome, right? So unaware people, I'd say, ready to make money while helping people? Problem aware, I'd say, are you struggling to get clients in the door, make consistent income in your coaching business? Solution aware, I'd say, here's how to lock in your dream client and attract them in droves for your transformational coaching business. Product aware, I'd say, the only all-in-one training, certification, and business building program for transformational coaches. And then most aware, I'd say, build automated marketing systems and deep dive into your perfect clients so you can get clients on demand for your transformational coaching business.
Nice. Cool. All right, so was that a good exercise to get the process started? That's not the end, you guys. It's something you got to focus on. There was a book I read when I first got into network marketing like 10 years ago from a lady named Kim Claver. She was actually at the Funnel Hacks event, which was kind of fun. And in her book, she talked about why most people suck at selling network marketing stuff. Do you know the number one reason why most people are really, well, not number one, but one of the many reasons why most people are really bad at it? His concept, she says that people, they do what they call technobabble, right? Where they come in and they're like, hey, I got this new company and, we are a $16 billion year company and our technology does this and blah, 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 blah. And everyone's like, what the crap is he talking about, right? Like most people are approaching people that are most aware, right? Okay, and that's why most people fail, is language patterns. Like it's a big deal, right? Technobabble is what's killing most of you guys. My guess is if your webinar is failing, 90% of it might be technobabble. You're saying all this crap that nobody understands, okay? You gotta remember, like, if you watch my webinars or my trainings or most of my stuff, you'll probably notice that I talk to people way down at this side for the most time, right? And if I'm gonna say something like funnels to people up here, I define it ahead of time. Like my Funnel Hacks webinar, funnels is, I'm very aware that funnels is a most aware term, right? Most people don't know what that is. So when I start the webinar, I'm starting down here and I talk about like, how many of you guys know what a funnel is? And like 70% do and 30% don't. I'm like, okay, let me define what a funnel is. You guys heard about a website, right? Everyone knows what a website is. And I talk about that and I bridge the gap between, let's call them bridge page. It bridges the gap between from a website to a funnel, and that brings people in. Now I can talk about funnels all I want, but I don't just lead with that because most people are sitting there half the webinar like, what is a funnel? I'm so confused what he's even talking about, right? And so think about that in all your communication. Like my guess is for most of you guys to be more successful, you've got to start dumbing down your language patterns, okay? It sounds bad, but it's the key. If you speak to people closer on this side, there'll be more rapport. They'll understand you more. And so anyway, there's a lot of reasons to understand that, but it's the key. All right. So that's step number one, is understanding language patterns. It is such a big deal. I wish I could spend like a day or 2 days just on this, but it's the key. It's how we open up to the masses, and you'll see more and more of that as we keep digging deeper into this. Okay, step number two. One of the big problems I have with this, or not problems, but complaints people always have, is like, well, Russell, like this is, as we start getting into like the things we're doing, is that they're upset because like they're so focused on their brand, right? Like I've got my brand, I want my brand to be awesome, and some of these pages and things you're telling me to do like aren't very brandish, they don't look awesome. Okay, and what I want to understand is that there's a point in a time for branding and there's a point in time for conversions, okay? So this, for example, is our launch funnel right now. How many of you guys have seen this launch funnel? If not, you're not opening my email. Just kidding. So this is the launch funnel. Now, a couple things about this. Page looks cool, right? Who am I speaking to? Warm or cold traffic here? Hot traffic. My 3 secret funnels. If I'm at the food court, who wants to see my 3 secret funnels? No one, right? I'm very aware that this is a warm traffic offer, okay? I structure that way. With that, I've got logos, I'm trying to do branding, a bunch of cool stuff, right? So this is a hot traffic offer. How many guys think this is hot or cold? This is cold, it's ugly, right? How many guys like, I don't want any of my customers ever seeing that page, that's embarrassing. That does not identify my brand, it's not who I am, I just hate it. There's no logos, there's no flowers, right? Some of you guys are thinking that right now. Okay, but with cold traffic, this is like a magnet. This will like suck people in. And so a key that I need you guys to understand is that in this whole lifeline of your customers, you guys probably can't see this over there, right? Everybody kind of see that? So you're driving people back in. If you want to get people initially at the cold level, back here we are not doing branding. So branding equals no. This is for conversions, because I want to get as many people in the front door as possible. After they have come in this door, and now there are people on my list, I own that traffic, I can do things. Now we transition over to things that look good, that have logos, that are branding, okay? Because this is what gets your hot people to keep on buying over and over and over and over again, is your brand. Okay, but your brand provides zero value initially getting people into your funnel. In fact, it's a negative deteriorator. If I threw a ClickFunnels logo on this page, it would drop my conversions dramatically. Does that make sense? So when I'm going cold, you got to stop worrying about yourself, because obviously we want our logo because we feel good about it. Like, stop thinking about yourself, think about what's going to get people to come into your world. Stacy? So that's a good question. So her question is, when do we go from like ugly to branded? And a lot of times it's not initially during the first thing, because if I go from like that page to this page, it's such incongruency. Like, whoa, like am I in the right spot? So usually we'll keep them similar, but typically like One of the things we do a lot. Okay, so let's say we'll call this one the Fugly page, right? So there it is. So it's ugly. And then in here, what we'll do is we'll create something called a bridge page. And then here, we'll take somebody over here to like our branded thing. Okay? And so these two look very similar. And the goal of this is basically like, for example, work from home, realistic income for the average Joe, right? How many of you guys want to work from home? Okay, I got people to raise their hand at the food court. They're coming in. They give me their email address. And the next step, the bridge page, what my job here is to bridge that gap between warm and cold, right? So the other version we have of this page says something like, send emails, make money, right? So send emails, make money. Then they come right here, and I'll say, hey, thanks so much for subscribing for more information about sending money or sending emails, making money, right? Excuse me. The big secret to internet marketing is you have to send out emails to people that want to buy your stuff. So what we do is we build what we call a list, and this list is going to be all these people. And imagine you send an email, and I kind of explain to them what I'm bridging the gap between this cold to this warm concept of a list, right? So I explain that here in this video here. And then at the end, I'm say, hey, so if you want, I made a video that's going to show you more information about my list building website and how you can get started. So then from there, I push them over to, like, let's say it's list hacking, which is now my list building website. So now they bridge that gap. They come over here, and it makes more sense. Does that help? You do anything. So this page right here, one of my favorite people online, his name is Dagan Smith. So he did a 6-year split test on landing pages trying to figure out the highest converting thing. And this was the result after 6 years. And so far, like, it's almost impossible for me to beat this in most markets. And one thing that he talked about was kind of cool. He said with cold traffic, these people have no idea who you are. They clicked on some random ad, and like most people are scared. He called it the deer in headlights syndrome, right? He says like the deer's coming out from behind the tree, and it sees the thing, it's coming closer and closer, and any little thing happens, it freaks it out and it runs off. Like he did. I had a video of that, right? The video comes and like, it freaks them out and they leave. We did privacy sales, which typically privacy sales on an order form increase conversion, but on this page decrease conversion. We try like so many different things, and you look at this, it's just like it's so simple, it's so easy. I'm not asking for email address, I'm not asking for anything. It's just saying, hey, how'd you hear about us? Oh, TV, Dan Kennedy, email, newsletter, other. Click on a button, and now boom, they just made a commitment. They clicked, and it moves them in. We'll talk more about this page and other pages in after lunch, but that's kind of the concept. Is it's this whole deer in headlights. Like when cold traffic's coming, like they're nervous. Like they've been scammed in the past. They're scared of there's all these things happen, all these conversations happening, and the more things you have that you're hitting them with, like the more likely they are to leave. And so this page is all about just simple. They come, they've got one thing to do, and it brings them through a process. So yeah, almost everything else, logos, videos, all those things hurt this page pretty bad. Okay, step number 3, and this is the big key to this whole thing, okay? If you look at what Facebook is doing right now, if you look at Google, you look at any of the ad networks do not want you ever promoting landing pages and webinar registration pages. Like, that does not serve them at all, right? What ad networks want is they want you to promote content. That's what serves them, okay? Someone comes to Facebook and clicks on an article and gives a good article, like that helps serve, that makes the user experience better for Facebook, okay? And all of us, I mean, I've been for 12 years kicking against the pricks, like fighting this because I'm just like, no, I want people to go to my landing page. Like I want their email address, right? But it doesn't serve the networks. And so eventually, either we keep fighting or we have to conform. And what's interesting is that we're finding that conforming is actually increasing conversion. So now I'm okay conforming with it, okay? And so this is the process, right? We talk a lot in .com Secrets and everything about like value ladders, right? What's happening before the value ladder? Like what gets somebody into the value ladder? This is the content. This is inbound marketing. Okay, this is the big buzzword right now. In fact, HubSpot did a big event last month. Their inbound marketing. Anyone go to that? Anyone see anything about that? All you guys are direct response marketers like me. We just want to sell crap to people, right? The new wave, like the future of where things are going is content, right? They did an event, had like over 10,000 people at this thing, all talking about inbound marketing, okay? Which is creating content and then promoting that content. So instead of promoting your squeeze page or your landing page, it's creating amazing content and then promoting that. Because that's what Facebook wants you to do. If you don't want to get shut down by Facebook, don't promote a webinar registration page. Promote content and then get someone to come to a webinar registration page. And if you do it correctly, the way I'm going to show you guys today, this content is a pre-frame to the other thing, so it doesn't matter. Actually, if you do it right, it'll actually increase your conversions. It doesn't hurt your conversions. Does that make sense? Okay, so if you look at like what I think where we all need to be focusing over the next year, 2 years, 5 years is this. Like it's this. This is where all the networks want us to go. They're forcing us to go, and we can fight against it and keep losing Facebook accounts day in and day out, or we can learn it and use it as a tool, and it'll be all right. It's all going to be all right. We hired Neil Patel. Any of you guys follow Neil Patel? So he's, in my space, he's the guy who's doing this the best, and I wanted to kind of pick his brain and learn. So we paid him a whole crap ton of money, flew him out to Boise for a day, and just picked his brain on this, right? And what's interesting about a lot of this inbound stuff, it's kind of frustrating at first because like, how many guys blog? Yeah, try to. How many guys like you post a blog post and then you see a whole bunch of money come in? A couple people. Yeah, it sucks, huh? It's horrible. And I was asking Neil, so we've blown him out. I'm like, okay, this is the deal. Like, I believe in inbound now. It took me 12 years. I finally believe in like, what's the process? Like, okay, this is how it works. Every day, you got to write a blog post. I'm like, okay, cool. Then what? It's like, then the next morning you wake up and you got to write another blog post. I'm like, okay, then what? The next day you wake up and write another blog post. I'm like, okay, well, when does the money come? He's like, it doesn't for a long time. But in about a year from now, you have more traffic than you can handle. But you got to be consistent for a year. I'm like, that sucks. I don't like that. He's like, well, that's how it works. And then he said, guess how many opt-ins a day I get right now for free? I'm like, how many? He said, 1,700 opt-ins a day he gets for free. I was like, oh, okay. I'm willing to focus for a little bit. 1,700 opt-ins a day? How many do you get for your webinar each week on average? Okay, if you had that every day for free and you paid $0 for it, would that have been worth like the last year worth of work? Yeah, so there's value. There's some things that are going to suck for a little bit for all of us. I'm the same thing. Like it's not immediate cash all the time. Now, tomorrow we're going to talk about how do we promote this content, and there are ways that you can amplify and you can speed up and make money faster. Because I don't know about you, but I like money faster. So there's things you can do, and we're going to continue to do. But understanding that this is like this is kind of a longer strategy. This is what, if you look at here's where we're at, right? A lot of us do like product launches, right? Where you're like, you make a bunch of money and then it goes away. And then you do a product launch, make a bunch of money, it goes away, right? Or you do Facebook. You do Facebook ads, make a bunch of money, and then it goes away. You make a bunch of money, it goes, and like, you have this, right? So that's one model. That's like the direct response model, right? The other model is this inbound model, okay? And it goes like this. And it's just like a nightmare, and then all of a sudden it goes like this. Whoosh. So which model is better? The direct response model or the inbound model? Yeah, I want them both, right? I want to make a crap ton of money while this is working, and then eventually this will just take off, and then we can just be like, sweet, 1,700 opt-ins a day. Like, that'd be awesome, right? And so that's kind of our focus is these things we do here to make cash and keep things happening while we're focusing on this as well, the inbound side. It's like I said, we're going to be talking a lot. Tomorrow's going to be all about how do we promote this stuff? How do we get things in? But I really want you to understand that like, this is, we can fight against this or we can learn it, and there's more value in learning it. And like I said, when you start understanding this whole like cold traffic, warm traffic, hot traffic concept we're kind of going through right now, this will actually help our businesses. It actually makes things convert better when you do it right. Vince?
So after a year, you stop.
I don't know. He's got people to write for him now. I'll walk you through the process. Because I'm like, how do you, he has a blog post every day. How do you do posts every day? And then he showed me, I'm like, oh, that's actually really easy. So I'll show you guys that when we get to that part.
Is there a formula on how to structure that blog post and all that stuff?
Yeah, kind of. We'll get into that, yeah. We'll go more deep into that. Right now I'm trying to tell you guys on the concepts here, so for this to work. So it's understanding inbound. Now the other cool thing with inbound and why I want to stress on this is because, again, we're going hot, warm to cold, right? So if I'm going cold, and I know like who's one of my dream clients I would like to go after, right? So let's just say, for example, and then just throw it ahead. Let's say I want to get more chiropractors into ClickFunnels, right? So what I can do is I can focus on inbound, create things that are inbound that are just talking to chiropractors about this thing, right? I can put it in places that chiropractors are at, right? And they come in cold, and this inbound is what warms them up and brings them into my funnels, okay? Or if I know I want to go after financial planners, right? I create content that speaks to those people where they're at currently. We put it out there, we promote it, and that brings people into my funnels, okay? So it gives me the ability to splinter out who I'm bringing into my world without me creating new funnels every single time, okay? Like I just don't want to create one funnel and focus there and then create different content that brings them people, converts them from cold to warm to hot, and brings them into my funnel, if that makes sense, okay? And so you'll see this again as we dig deeper into it. I know there's a lot of like stuff I'm setting up for later, but hopefully you guys understand that it's all a framework, and then it's in place, and you'd be like, oh, that's how it all works together. So different strategies. Good question. So his question was better to write crappy blog posts every day or really good once a week. I said okay. So there's different strategies. And it doesn't have to be blog posting. How many of you guys hate writing and never want to write for the rest of your life? Yeah, I hate writing too. So like you don't have to write. How many of you guys like podcasts? How many of you guys think Periscope's sweet? Like there's different ways you can do it. So it doesn't have to be like, don't just like, I hate Russell, I don't want to write. Like you don't have to write. I'm going to show you guys a lot of different ways. Content does not have to be written. It's really kind of, and we'll talk about this, but finding your voice, figure out how you want to communicate with the audience, and that's what the content is. So, all right, okay, next thing, step 4, this is kind of, here's a better picture of the funnel catcher, right? So our goal is we're going to go out there, we're going to find cold people, right? The cold hard masses, there's tons of them. We take them through this funnel catcher process, right? Where we are promoting to the cold people where they're at, okay? So this is where I'm at right now. I promote. I push them to a content platform where I have something that speaks to this person. They go from there to a pre-frame bridge into my funnel. Okay, and that helps them to become hot. And then they give me tons of money every day for the rest of my life. Okay? So you look at this is the process, right? Unaware, problem-aware. So you're finding people that are unaware. The content makes them problem-aware. Pre-bridge makes them solution-aware. Funnel makes them product-aware. And then they give you a bunch of money. All right, so again, this is the goal, you guys, of our break-even funnel. It takes them from cold to hot. When they are hot, that is when they give us a whole bunch of money, and it's amazing. And so that is it for session number 1.